This conference is going to be a turning point in my life.
That whatever you visualize for somebody else is automatically going to come back to you as well.
And you know what I found out? It's so basic. It was the repetition of listening to the records.
The more aware you are, the faster you will manifest.
If you believe that hard work and honesty alone will bring riches, perish the thought it's not true. Riches, when they come in huge quantities, are never the result of hard work. Riches come, if they come at all, in response to definite demands based upon the application of definite principles and not by chance or luck. That's all by law. There is no end to what you can earn. None. Now, paradigms keeps you boxed in all of those areas. It's just like there's a box around us. And every time we go to change, we hit the wall. And it doesn't happen. When you make up your mind, you're going to change the paradigm, the wall comes down. But I'm going to tell you something. That doesn't mean you're going to change right away. You make a decision, I'm changing this, that wall will come down. Then you'll be in a position to start moving, and the wall is down. You're not bouncing off it anymore. When you say, I'm going to change this, now someone in here today, hopefully everybody, is going to make a decision, I'm changing that. This conference is going to be a turning point in my life. Now think, you spent money and you took time. Some of you traveled a long way. Make certain this is a turning point. And when you say, I'm going to change, just think of this. The change can be huge, absolutely huge. And the change is permanent. You will never go back. You see, awareness is something you cannot lose. Most of us, when we're thinking of learning, we get hooked up on school stuff, and it's the intellect we're thinking of. Because that's what school focuses on, the intellect. If you get the degree, you've learned it. If you get this, you've learned it. Why are there so many people with degrees come right off their business card that don't know the war's over? They're losing. That's not in the intellect, it's in the awareness. Think of this. A person isn't earning $100,000 a year because they want $100,000 a year. They're earning $100,000 a year because they're not aware of how to earn $100,000 a month. When you help develop their awareness, it's something they won't lose. Like a baby is not aware of the difference between a woman and a man. Baby's not aware of the difference in a female and a male. That is something a baby has to become aware. They have to learn that. And when the baby develops the awareness, they never lose it. That'll help you understand the difference between awareness and intellect. When you become aware of how your paradigm is controlling you, and then how to change it, there's no end to where you can go or what you can do. None. Now, let's suppose that's the only thing you change as a result of this conference. You're going to change your perception of this business. You're going to change your perception of you in this business. You're never going to look at this company and your position in it the same way again. You're going to see this as a vehicle that will take you anywhere you want to go, and there's nothing can stop you. Do you know about 66% of what I'm saying you will have forgotten by tomorrow morning? It's true. 90 to 100% you'll probably leave within a month. That's the way our memory works. Can you learn it? Absolutely you can. If you don't remember anything, remember this. Change your perception. Change the way you look at this business. And don't listen to anybody that's telling you something about this business that is an already leader in the business, earning themselves millions. Okay? I was on the fire department when I started to study this. It was the best job I'd ever had. I was earning $100 a week, $400 a month. When I got that job, I was only earning $48 a week working in a service station, changing tires, filling up gas, greasing cars. And I went from earning $50 a week to $100 a week. And then I get into that book, and I decided I was going to quit the fire department. I was the second person since 1934 to quit that fire department. Nobody ever quit, and they couldn't fire you. The chief every day would call me and he said, "What are you going to do?" I said, "I'm going to clean offices." He said, "Bob, you're crazy." No. "Well, you know, you can't come back when you quit. You can't come back." I said, "I know." He said, "Why are you doing this?" Well, I said, I've got a dream. I'm reading a book and it's teaching me how to do stuff. Let me tell you the bizarre part of this. I started cleaning one office, $15 a time to wash the floor. Then I got another office, $65 a month. Now I'm up to $100 a month. Do you know, I got it up that I was earning $14,500 a month, and I was afraid to quit the fire department. The chief was only earning $11,500 a year. I was earning $14,500 a month. Yet I was afraid to quit. Part of the paradigm was there's security in this job. There's no security in a job. There's no security outside of yourself. If you haven't got it inside, you haven't got it. In less than 5 years, I was cleaning offices in Toronto, Montreal, Boston, Cleveland, Atlanta, and London, England. I was earning a lot of money, well over $1 million a year. They all thought I was crazy when I quit. But when I got it up over $1 million, they didn't think I was so crazy anymore. When you do what you're doing, your friends, relatives, they're going to think you're crazy. You cannot afford to listen to them. They mean well. They really do. They want to help you. They don't want to hurt you. But they're trying to talk you out of what you're doing because they don't understand it. When you change your perception, your income will change dramatically. And you know something? It'll never go back. So basic and so misunderstood. The truth is, you truly can create your own economy. You don't have to depend on what the government's doing. Don't be too concerned what they're saying. What they're saying today is going to be what they're saying tomorrow. Listen, during the Great Depression of the 30s, there was people earning millions of dollars. Yet in the very worst economy, there's people earning millions of dollars. Yet in the very best economy, there's people that don't know how to get out of bed. They're losing. It's inside. It's in your attitude. It's in your way of thinking. It's your perception of this business. Build it big in your mind and then go and execute it. It's so basic and so simple. We miss it. To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm. And if you're not willing and able to change your paradigm, forget it. You're not going to go very far. Now, Ray sat down with me and he said, "Bob, let that R represent results." Then he said, "Let that represent happiness, health, and wealth." Then he asked me if I thought he was a happy guy. And I said, "Yeah, he seemed pretty happy to me." And he did. He's a great, big, happy guy. He said, "Have you ever seen me when I was sick?" And I had to admit I hadn't. He said, "Have you ever seen me when I was broke?" And again, I had to admit I hadn't. Well, he proceeded to tell me he thought I was one of the most miserable people he had ever met. And he said, "You're always sick. You don't have a terminal illness, but you always got something wrong with you." And he said, "You're always broke." Now, he was being kind. I was actually earning $4,000 a year, as I mentioned, but I owed $6,000. So, I mean, it was like an impossible situation. I just couldn't see my way out of it. He said, "Do you ever read anything?" Now, I heard Jenna in a recording say that leaders are readers. And I've heard that before. Remember Charlie Tremendous Jones? He's gone now, but he was a great speaker. That's what he used to always say. And that's when Ray introduced me to this book. Then he told me the story about the book. And it's a pretty interesting story. And he said, if you'll study that, there's no end to what you can do. Absolutely none. I said, I don't expect you to understand what I'm telling you. But he said, listen, my way's working, yours isn't. I think that's the first time he really reached me. He said, my way's working, yours isn't. This guy always had a roll of money on him. Now, it's all I was interested in, was getting some money. I figured if I had some money, all my problems would go away. Because everybody's phoning me, where the hell's the money? You know, and I thought if I knew where the money was, you wouldn't have to phone me. Well, within a year, I was earning $14,500 a month. Now, if you annualize that, that's $175. I hadn't earned $175, but I was earning $14,500 a month in 1 year, from $4,000 to that. You can do that in this business. You can do that starting today. You really can. Everybody knows that. In less than 5 years, I had that over $1 million. Now, here's the real crazy part. If you asked me what I was doing, I couldn't have told you. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. Do you know that most people that are really successful, they don't know why they're successful? They really can't. They cannot articulate why they are. They're what you call unconscious competence. They're very good, but they can't really articulate why they are. Unfortunately, that means they can't even transfer that to their kids. Not a good place to be. You see, I was in England. I had all this money. I didn't care what I did because I knew where the money was. I'd just go get some more. And I go down to Playboy on Park Lane, right beside the London Hilton, and I'd play roulette. I didn't care if I lost. I knew how to get more. And one day, it dawned on me that I wasn't being very responsible. And then I started to think, what happened to me? How did this change? Because over a short period of time, I went from having nothing and having almost everything. And I couldn't tell you. I'd been raised to believe if you're going to earn a lot of money, you got to be really smart. I knew I wasn't very smart. I knew that. I had a very limited vocabulary. If you used a word I didn't understand, I'd have to get a dictionary out and find out what you meant. And I thought, how did I change? I'd been raised to believe if you don't go to school, you can't get a good job. I didn't have a good job. I owned the whole company. And I thought, I should figure out what happened to me. Because it happened fairly fast, just and you know, I couldn't find anybody who could teach me. They couldn't tell me what happened. So I started to study. Do you know, it took me 9.5 years to find out why Bob changed. I was Bob, why I changed. My life had changed. And when I found out it was so simple, I could understand why I was missing it. And I made up my mind when I figured it out, I was going to spend the rest of my life teaching this. Because I thought there's so many people don't know. And they don't even know they don't know. I left my own company. I went to Chicago and I got a job with the Nightingale Conant Corporation because I wanted to work with Earl. I wanted to study him. I took a job for $18,000 a year. That's a long ways down from $1 million plus. 3 years later, I was earning $33,000. But you see, I was prepared to pay them to let me work there. I just wanted to find out what they knew. I knew they knew. And you know what I found out? It's so basic. It was the repetition of listening to the records. We had records then. If you were to visit my studio in Toronto, I have a beautiful bookshelf, and library, and on one of the shelves is a small handheld record player. And I would drive around listening to these records. I got so addicted to listening to them, I had never heard anybody talk like this. It made me feel so good. It was incredible. Now, to boot, the guy had a phenomenal voice. I used to think if God had a voice, you know, it would be Earl, because he had great pipes. And it was the repetition of listening that defies intellect. You see here, school, they give you the book, you read the book. They ask you questions, you put it aside, get another book. And they think you know this. You don't know it at all. You just remembered some stuff in it and you answered questions. That is not learning. That's gathering information. That's not learning. Learning is when you consciously entertain an idea. You get emotionally involved in that idea. You act on the idea and you change the end result. It's the feedback from the change in result that's the learning experience. You're learning how to earn money here. You're learning how to inspire other people to live the way they want to live. That's what you're teaching people. And that's what you want to remember. This is so important. School doesn't teach it. The church is not teaching it. It's not being taught in home. This is vitally important. It's our life, for God's sake. It's our life. Most people live and die and they never learn how to live. Well, that book sure changed everything for me. And I'd like to lead you to the path that this book kept me on for the last 58 years. And I believe that my daily choice is taking you there. Oh, I do.
Remember that whatever you visualize for somebody else is automatically going to come back to you as well. Right, so only send out good thoughts to other people. And because you know what, somebody that's crossed you in some way, it's not worth it to hurt your own life, right? It's just not worth it. So how do I manifest something I don't know about? Thank you, and I love everything you say. Do you know what I used to do? And I'll give this to you. I've mentioned this before, but I want to give it to you again. If you don't know exactly what your manifestation looks like, or let's say you want a job and you don't know exactly what that job looks like, or you want the perfect partner, but you don't know exactly what they look like, or you have a dream like this person does, but you don't know what it is. What I always have done is I have jumped for joy. So I have visualized myself jumping for joy over this manifestation, and I've seen myself so happy, like on top of the world, and so excited. And so you visualize that. That has to come into fruition, right? It has to appear. So are we all good? What, your house paid off? Well, then imagine that. Walk around your house as though it's paid off, right? Walk around your house as though you are absolutely free of any mortgage, and just feel what that feels like. And do it every day. Do it every day until it's paid off, until it's manifested. Okay, awareness and manifestation, the link between the two, please. Okay, right. The more aware you are, the faster things will manifest, okay? That's why I'm saying to you, I want you to focus on being more aware. Because if you focus on being more aware, you're going to notice negative thoughts and you're not going to empower them. And you're going to be, and you will empower positive thoughts. The more aware you are, the faster you will manifest. I was just listening to a teacher who was passed, and he was talking about awareness. And he said this. He said, if you were sitting on a snow-capped mountain, isolated from everything, and you wanted to have strawberry shortcake with cream, it would manifest instantly if you were fully, totally aware. Right? Fully aware. And so the more aware that you are, the faster everything will manifest. The better your life will be, the happier you'll be. And so now I just want to talk about one more thing before we finish, and that is about your emotions. 45 minutes we are. Wow. I hope you guys are okay. I'm not rabbiting on too much. I want to talk about your emotions and the kind of the scale of negative feelings, okay, and positive feelings. So when you're happy, you will manifest really fast. That is when you are happy, you know, something's happened and you're super happy, or you listen to your favourite piece of music and you dance like crazy around your living room, which is what I used to do to get happy, or do gratitude. But when you're happy, that is the time. Move in, think the thoughts of what you want, think the thoughts that it's already here, and as though you have it, and visualize. Do all of that when you're happy. When you've woken up on the wrong side of the bed and you're feeling agitated and you're feeling short-tempered and you're feeling grumpy, I want to save you a lot of trouble. Don't visualize. Don't. Because you have very little power when you are down in those negative emotions. You have all the power when you are happy and up high. So don't even bother, because the fact that we can't manifest, that we have way less power in negative emotions, is a self-protective mechanism. Okay, so when we're depressed, we have very little power to manifest, okay? But we can still get ourselves out of it just the same. But that's for another day. That's for another day.